Ottawa would be absolutely foolish to trade him, man. I'm a huge fan of Nick Paul. Like when I look at the way that team's going, and the Sens have actually been pretty competitive lately now that they got some goaltending in Matt Murray. But you've got Nick Paul, you've got Brady Tkachuk, who's highly competitive. Like if I'm Ottawa, I'm sticking with it. And what I'm going to do if I'm Ottawa is try to add some veterans in the offseason to help insulate my young players, because you cannot win with all young guys in key roles. And they got to improve their defense in the offseason. But I've really liked Ottawa's competitiveness here the last 6 weeks. I think DJ Smith's got that team. Like they battle. They're hard. They're in games. And they've got some skill. They got some young skill. Thomas Chabot's an excellent defenseman, I should say. Drake Batherson's out. He's really skilled. You've got Stützle, I think, is only going to get better. Norris, Tkachuk. And I like Nick Paul. I think Nick Paul, Frank, they would be foolish to trade him. Foolish.
So they offered Nick Paul 3 years times $2 million, and it was pretty easily declined.
Down. Yeah, he's going to get more than that. But hey, they're talking. You're always going to come.
What is he worth?
Now, historically, I try to be rational in it. I think you can get Nick Paul for, if it's two-way street. I think Nick Paul probably believes that he can still develop into a guy to earn a big ticket. So he's probably on a 2 or 3 year deal because he doesn't want to commit long-term to a number that the Sens aren't going to pay him 5 or 6. So he's probably got to commit to
5 or 6. He's never hit double-digit goals.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, talking to people around the league and seeing his progression on where he's going to go and his value, he'll be there.
He's been in the NHL since 2015-16.
Yeah. But he's just hitting his prime, Frank. There's lots of late developers in the NHL. I think Nick Paul, I'm going to say this. I think Nick Paul is going to get between 2.8 and 3.2.
Okay. But what would you give up to get him?
Oh, I'd give up a first rounder in a heartbeat. He's because
a first rounder for Nick Paul.
Yeah. You gave up a first rounder for Barclay Goodrow. You got to remember, Frank, the first rounder, when you get to 25 plus, you can get a good player there, but it's not like you're giving up a top 10 pick, right? The teams that are going to acquire Nick Paul, I'm assuming, are teams that feel they've got a deep Stanley Cup run in them.
Okay, now let me flip the script on you and ask another question. Is Barclay Goodrow overpaid?
What's he making now? 4 bills?
He is 3.65 times 6.
Yeah, he's probably slightly. He probably is a $3 million player. So I don't think it's a gross overpay, no.
It's 6 years, though.
Yeah, but and he's...
This is the first time he's hit double-digit goals in his career. His previous career high was 8.
Yeah, so think about it. So in his first year of his new deal, he's got a little bit more of an offensive role, but I don't think Barclay Goodrow's complete value to your team is just in offense. The Rangers have enough offensive guys. If you're a player, Frank, in the bottom 6 who can score 10 to 12 goals 5-on-5, that's big time production. I crunched all the numbers.
It's not the number, it's the term for me.
Yeah. Well, okay, but that's not overpaid. That's term, right? His 3.6 cap hit to me isn't that high. It's the term, sure. I've always said, to me, the NHL would be better off if they never gave contracts longer than 5 years after anybody the age of 27. It would be better for everybody in the league. It'll never happen, but it would be better for everybody.
I just think you almost always get yourself into big trouble with long-term deals for players in that third line role.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think the orders on Nugent Hopkins at 8 years is a deal that near the end they're not going to love, but they signed it now, and because their GM doesn't worry about 8 years. I don't think any GM does, right? They worry about 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm Ottawa, I wouldn't trade Nick Paul, man. Because if Ottawa gets a late first round pick, Frank, that late round pick isn't helping them for another 3 or 4 years anyway. So if you sign Nick Paul to a 3-year deal, by the time his deal's done, if you're worried that he overpriced himself, who cares? At least you've had 3 productive years. I think that's just spinning your circles. And that's how teams stay near the bottom, is when they let go of good. Nick Paul's just figured out how to play in the NHL and how to be a good player defensively. And he's adding a little bit more offense. Now's the worst time to trade him.